Hey everybody, and welcome to Weight Loss Wednesday. I'm Chef AJ, the author of The Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss, now available in German, and this is where I show you recipes for healthy, permanent, and sustainable weight loss. Today I'm featuring a recipe from my dear friend Kathy Hester, who's the author of many books, including her latest book, Gluten-Free Vegan Cooking in Your Instant Pot. And I am going to be making her Velvety root veggie soup. She made this one week in my Feel Fabulous group, which if you want more information about, I'll put a link in the show notes. I'll also be giving you the exact recipe, so I won't be saying the measurements, but if you just click on the More, which is underneath where the title of this episode is, thanks to Kathy's generosity, you'll get the exact recipe. And what's great about this recipe, and what's great about all of Kathy's recipes, is she always has room for substitution. So for example, if you couldn't find the rutabaga, you could use a turnip. If you couldn't find butternut squash, you could use sweet potato. And so I was able to make this with everything I had in my house. I didn't have to go out for it. So I've already got my water measured out in the insert of my 8-quart Instant Pot electric pressure cooker, which you can get a $10 discount off of at instantpot.com. If you don't already have a pressure cooker or are in the market for a second one, I really recommend the 8-quart because you can do small recipes in a big one, but you can't do big recipes in a small one. So to the water, I'm going to be adding my onion, my turnip. If you haven't tried turnips, they are a fabulous root vegetable. They're delicious. Steamed, roasted. I've tried them the first time at Rancho La Puerta. I thought they were potatoes because they were kind of purple. They're delicious. Got my sweet potato. Now I'm doing a little bit different than Kathy's recipe because she called for everything to be chopped up, but this is a blended soup and I just didn't want to go to all the trouble, so I think it's going to be fine. But if you want, follow her instructions exactly. She has everything chopped up. Got my carrot, and also she calls for things to be peeled, but since I'm using 100% organic, I figure there's fiber and nutrients in the skin. I'm going to blend it, so I'm just too lazy to do all that extra work. I've got my organic russet potatoes. This is a very cute thing. This is an insert that I used when I make my potato bagels or just anytime I steam things. I love this little basket. It fits perfectly in the 8-quart. I'm just using it to hold the things. And then her recipe calls for apples, and I'm just going to core them really quickly. I didn't want to do that in advance and have them brown, but I love using fruits with vegetables. I have a recipe on this channel for butternut bisque, and I use pears with it. So I love this little tool. This is how you make the holes in the bagels if you watched episode 167 where I made bagels. So this is just a cool little thing. It's called a corer, and it's supposed to work a lot easier than this. There we go, but it's kind of cool. It just pulls it right out like that, and I'm going to put the whole thing in. These are organic envy apples. This also works great on a cucumber as well to get that seed packet out. It's very sharp, so be careful. Always use it on a cutting board. Sometimes you don't get it exact. There we go. Just put it right in. And then this is going to cook on high pressure for 15 minutes. And then when it's done, I'm going to come back and show you how we finish it off. I'm just going to do an immersion blender. Of course, you could use a regular blender, but you have to be really careful, of course, when you do that. There we go. I should have done this in advance, but otherwise it would be just too easy. It's like shooting a gun, even though I've never done that. These are great, by the way, if you're making baked apples. This is how you do it. So then I'm going to add the spices. She calls for some thyme and some fresh garlic and some nutritional yeast. Always good to get an unfortified brand, according to the doctors. And I am going to now place it in here. I've already had another insert in there for some reason, which is good to have more than one insert. You always put it on 11 o'clock to seal it. That's how I remember it. Make sure this little bird's beak is away from you for sealing. And then I just always use the manual button, and it calls for 12 minutes, so I'm just going to add a few minutes on time. In a second it's going to beep, and I think that beep is just like, hey lady, are you sure this is what you want? Do that. Make a beep. Come on. I said you were going to beep. There we go. So I will come back when it's done, blend it, and we'll show you the soup. So it beeped, and I turned the unit off, and now I'm going to release the pressure with one of my little diverters. All right, now we can safely open it. Remember, there's always handles you can put something on right here. I'm going to add the balsamic vinegar. And the reason you can burn yourself with this is if you lift it up, you'll be splattering the hot liquid. So you can see how easily it goes through the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, even the turnips. This is a beautiful color. You can see why she calls this velvety. Look how thick it looks without anything to thicken it, like nuts, which are optional in this. She says you can put in 2 tablespoons of cashews. That looks so beautiful. I think root vegetables are really, really underused. And so I'm going to taste it first, and if it needs any seasoning, I'll put Kathy's seasoning on it. I would probably garnish this with a few chives just to make it look pretty. The apple gives it a slight sweetness without being too sweet. This will be great over millet or rice or quinoa. For me, it doesn't need any other seasoning, but if you need some, try some of Kathy's DIY seasoning. Well, Kathy Hester, thank you for another great recipe. You've done it again. And thank you for watching another episode of Weight Loss Wednesday. I'm Chef AJ, and I make healthy taste delicious.